Welcome to St John's for the weekly update as we move through the second of the weeks of Advent. And I'm standing next to the Advent candles. The first two have been lit. They represent the themes of peace and hope. On Sunday we will be lighting the rose or pink candle, which represents the theme of joy. A reminder that at the heart of our Christian faith is a deep joy that comes from the gift of hope, which does actually frame things for us in a way that we can enter into joy, and it's the joy and the hope that allow us to have a vision of what the world can look like and therefore become peacemakers. And of course the fourth candle we light a week before Christmas has the theme of love, which reminds us that God is love and that it's love that enables us to express our joy, to grasp the hope and to dedicate ourselves to being peacemakers. It's a reminder that in our tradition the idea of peace is actually something that has to be created. It's not something that comes about simply by the lack of violence or warfare. We have 3 or 4 members of our team who are living with COVID at the moment or are getting over having a COVID infection. It's a timely reminder that we are in the midst of an incredible peak at the moment. I know so many people who have COVID or have just had COVID. So a reminder that we are in a time of amber alert and that one of the recommendations is that we should wear masks when we can't physically distance from one another. So it is a good time for us to reflect whether we should be wearing a mask when we are in the cathedral. The team has decided to wear masks as often as we can because we work with so many vulnerable people, and one of the other recommendations is that if you are someone who has close contact with vulnerable people, that you wear a mask. So please do consider that. It's still a wonderful we still have incredible opportunities to be together, and mask wearing has proven to be such an effective measure that it enables us to stay together rather than being driven apart by the pandemic, which happened in earlier days before the time of vaccinations. We had an incredible celebration on Saturday, the ordination of priests and deacons, among them John Rolly, who has now left us and has gone to Goondiwindi, so we continue our sense of thankfulness for John's ministry amongst us. It's also a very poignant service in that our Archbishop laid up his pastoral staff, and so that brings an end to his ministry, an effective end to his ministry as Archbishop. So we continue to express our gratitude to him for such incredible leadership over 2 decades. If you missed the service, it is on our YouTube channel and you'll find a link to it in this update. Advent is a special time of year and we are enjoying some wonderful things as part of our Advent program. One of the real highlights are the Sunday evenings. 2 weeks ago we had the Advent procession. Last Sunday we had an amazing evensong with a cantata by Thielmann. This Sunday we're looking forward to evensong sung by the boy choristers, and a reminder that during Advent we've moved those services to 7 p.m. One of the gifts we have in this place is the On The Way podcast, an amazing opportunity to reflect deeply on issues. The latest podcast is really interesting, if not confusing. It's looking at the idea of the multiverse, the idea that there may be more than one universe. In fact, there may be an infinite number of universes. And that speaks to our faith because we need to deal with reality. It's a very interesting conversation, so you'll find a link to it on the podcast page of the Cathedral website. And on Friday night we have the opportunity to gather together in the Darnell room for a recording of the podcast in front of a live studio audience, as the saying used to go. This time we're looking at a Christmas-based theme, so we hope to release this podcast before Christmas, and it's looking at the idea of original goodness, that God actually created a good and beautiful world and that we frame our understanding of the faith and who we are through the idea of being essentially good. It's an opportunity to have a conversation that acts as a counterpoint to the idea of original sin. We will be opening the complex area of what it means to be formed in the terms of original goodness, and yet confronting the fact that we can be so dreadful to one another and life can be a real trial and difficult. So it's not going to be a glib conversation, but a wonderful conversation. So if you're able to join us on Friday night in the Darnell room, do come along. Otherwise, wait for that episode to come out in the next couple of weeks. One of the ministries that really is flourishing here at the Cathedral is being coordinated by the Hope for the Homeless team. One of the ideas that's bubbled up as we reflect on the needs of the homeless who find safety and fellowship here at the Cathedral and on this precinct is that over the Christmas period, over the Christmas New Year period, many of the services that do care for the homeless, providing meals and the like, have a well-earned rest, which means that particularly on public holidays, there are some people in the city who are incredibly hungry. And so one of the ideas that we wish to progress is the idea of developing a store of frozen meals that we'll be able to give out over the holiday period. So if you're able to help us in that way, please talk to us about how you might package those up so that we can use them effectively. One of our other ministries is that we seek to be advocates for refugees, those seeking asylum, people seeking safety, and one of the ways we're doing that is raising money for the work of the Romero Centre. Yasmin will be hosting a yoga session here on Saturday morning in partnership with the young professionals of the United Nations Association of Australia. So if you'd like to explore the world of yoga, please do check out the details on the Cathedral website. The December issue of Community News is now available. You'll find physical copies here in the Cathedral, as well as a copy on the community page of the Cathedral website. And so to the celebrations of birthdays, we say happy birthday to Julia Reagan, to Marco Hammer, to Andrew Stobie, to Terry Albone and Eleanor Manzini. Hope you all have a fantastic week of celebrations mixed with celebrations as people prepare for Christmas. Thank you for your contribution to the life of the Cathedral community. It's a great joy to be in this place as we move through this wonderful season of expectation, hope, love, joy and peace, and as we move towards the great celebration of Christmas. Details of the Christmas services can be found on the What's On page of the Cathedral website. Peace be with you.